All right, I have a special guest with me today, and I want to take a moment to talk to Maddie, who has been not only a student of mine, but has definitely become a friend over the years. And I don't know where the relationship will evolve to, other than I'd love to be like one of your investors someday as you start some massive corporation and so forth. But this is Maddie Klug. Maddie, you were a student of mine just a few years ago. How many years ago now?
I think it was 2021.
2021. Mm-hmm. Now, when I first met Maddie, you wrote about, because you had to write an essay to get in the class, and you wrote about your time becoming a scholarship athlete at the University of Kentucky, which, by the way, I was immediately like, okay, this is impressive. Touch on that a little bit, because University of Kentucky didn't just call you up and say, hey, we're offering you the red carpet, come to the University of Kentucky, play volleyball. What happened? Tell us about that.
That's so funny. I don't even remember writing the essay. So I'm glad you do. I remember other stuff, but so I came to University of Kentucky as a walk-on, so preferred walk-on. I played volleyball for the Cats, and I wanted something bigger than myself. Always have. I've always been a Kentucky fan, and so I always, and he'd probably agree, but I pretty much convinced Craig Skinner to give me a chance.
That was the coach at the time.
Yes, and he still is. Yes, he's still the coach, and I pretty much convinced him to give me a chance, and he did, and I ended up, and this was probably part of the essay, but being given a full scholarship later on in my career, which was like one of the coolest moments, where they did the whole surprise and everything. And so, playing volleyball at Kentucky was like transformative for my character more than anything.
And you were a business finance major.
Correct.
And ended up in our class, the investment management class. And that's how we first met. You sort of got into the class and so forth. But I do remember,
I was like, that wasn't the first time we met.
I know. I'm gonna bring it up. I want to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, I can tell you.
I had a little internship project that I needed to have done, and I put out to the university, hey, I need a couple of students that might be interested in this project. And Maddie was one of the ones that applied. And what happened with that, Maddie? What were you an intern? Did that work out, or what?
No, it didn't. It didn't work out. It could have. You said you welcomed me back. But what happened is part of the interview process was like submit your portfolio or something. And I had some stocks, and most of them were parent-picked stocks. And so, mind you, Quint called me at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, which is very unfair to college kids.
Test number one.
No caller ID, but I did answer. And, that was the interview, the 8 a.m. Saturday call. And he proceeds to ask, tell me about one in particular stock. It's Calamco. I can literally remember the stock name. Anyways, I obviously had no idea what Calamco was. And I proceeded to lie through my teeth about how Calamco, I just, whatever. And Quint let me continue lying, and then he said, why did you just do that? You just lied to my face. I am a professional. This is what I do for a living. And that's what started our relationship.
That's what started. Well, the funny thing is, she had these blue chip type stocks.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm going to make some up, like Coca-Cola or whatever. And markets were okay. And then there was this one stock that just absolutely got crushed. And so I didn't try to set you up, but I thought to myself, maybe you know something I don't know. Maybe I need to look at this stock. And I said, tell me about this Calamco or whatever. And, oh, well, it's just a steady grower. I've owned it for a long time. It's just one that we're really familiar with in our family. And I'm going, oh, she has no idea.
No idea.
So I proceeded to say, interesting, you're full of crap. And I might have used some other choice words there anyways. And thus began a great relationship. But I also recall you fought tooth and nail, and this is going to go to a lot of our students because I think it's just so important. I talk about you regularly for a variety of reasons, and one of them is this. I don't tell that story, although now they know that story. It's a great story. Mm-hmm. But one of the stories I tell is that you fought tooth and nail to make it to Wall Street. Mm-hmm. And when I say Wall Street, people say, oh, I'm on Wall Street because I manage money. To a degree, yes, but I'm not on Wall Street. I'm not in Manhattan working at, a major Wall Street firm. You fought tooth and nail to get there, and you did. Tell us about that and what transformed from there.
Yeah, it was it was a pretty unbelievable experience. My whole college experience, I worked my butt off to get to Wall Street, to Quinn's point. I worked with like what is it called? The financial, the program for Kentucky students.
Wall Street Scholars.
Wall Street Scholars, thank you. And I was clueless. My parents were real teachers. I didn't know what Wall Street meant other than you can make a lot of money, and that's all I really knew. And so I did all of the recruiting, which happens in like sophomore year in college, which is insane. I mean, I was 20 recruiting for a job that I wouldn't get till I was 23. And so I was doing the phone calls, I was doing the interviews, I was doing the diversity initiatives for being a female, like all of those things. Ended up, as I said, I play volleyball at Kentucky. And so in the summertime, you had to be on campus training with your team. Kindly enough, my coach actually let me go to Manhattan for a summer and take one of those internship roles. And
with who?
With Credit Suisse, which ironically is not Credit Suisse anymore. And so that was in sales and trading. And so even just like learning the differences between sales and trading, which is much more market focused, versus then later on, fast forward, I ended up getting a job in investment banking, which is just completely different. And, you know, I'm maybe jumping the gun here.
Well, what I wanted to get to is you fought for that, you got it, and you got an offer.
Yeah.
So I remember one of the first conversations you and I had where I think our relationship moved from student to professor to maybe mentee, mentor, because you were like, I got a job offer. I have fought tooth and nail for this. I don't know what to do. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't know what to do? So talk about that a little bit.
Oh, Quinn, I forgot that even happened. Yeah.
Oh, see, I remember all this.
Gosh.
You remember nothing.
There's so much. So I got the job offer at the end of the summer for Credit Suisse, which that's like a job any 21-year-old wants, right?
Absolutely.
And I had always thought I was like made for New York. You know, that was always my perception of myself. And I just kind of looked in the mirror and I wasn't. I knew I wanted to eventually move back home. My long-term boyfriend, who's now my husband, is also from the same area. Like we knew we didn't want to be in New York long-term. And so I called Quinn and I was like, Quinn, I don't know what to do. I would be walking away from a really great job in the world standards. I know I wouldn't like it that much, but I also don't have anything else lined up. And this is so much security in that too, of having a job your whole senior year in college. And, you know, Quinn, I'll never forget, was like, at the end of the call, he's just like, bet on yourself. Like, there's no reason that you shouldn't bet on yourself, decline the offer, you're going to get something else. And that was a really, really, really tough job market. And I ended up declining the offer and betting on myself. It worked out way differently than I ever expected.
So transfer to that, transferring to that, you are from Wisconsin and wanted to go be closer to home, boyfriend, family, variety of things. And so you still were drawn to finance, which narrows your job pool from like the ocean to a pond to maybe a little babbling brook.
Yeah, right.
Because how many Wall Street type firms are in Wisconsin?
One.
Yeah. One. And so how did you, and you broke in.
Yeah.
You,
crazy.
Again, there are people you meet who, no matter what, and this is why I will bet on Maddie, and again, I really mean this, at some point she will call me up and say, I'm doing it. I'm jumping into this. I'm acquiring this. I'm starting this. And I will say, I'm in. Yeah, whatever, I'm in. So you made the decision geographically, turning down Credit Suisse, turning down Manhattan, worked your butt off to get there. I'm going to Wisconsin. There's one firm, and I'm going to get a job there in investment banking.
Yeah. So there's one step that we missed there. That was a huge part of it too, is I would say, honestly, the thing I'm most proud of getting that was so outside my wheelhouse is I convinced, again, someone else to give me an internship at a private equity firm before that.
That's right.
So I graduated early. I graduated a semester early. And so I had like 6 months where I was just going to be living at my parents' house, doing nothing, before all finance jobs started in June. So I had January to June to do something, and I wanted to gain something meaningful out of that time. And so I literally started just cold calling private equity firms, Chicago, Milwaukee. I was like, I'll drive wherever for 3 or 4 months. Just let me learn. You don't even need to pay me, whatever. And
cold calling.
I mean, I'm talking like website.
And now when I hear somebody go and I say, well, you want to go to New York? When are you going to go? And they're like, well, I don't have anything lined up yet. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Make it happen.
Make it happen.
Anyway, so you were cold calling.
So so then I ended up landing, again, the singular private equity firm in Milwaukee that is like middle market, does decent volume. And they took a shot on me. It doesn't really make sense for private equity companies to take interns because you don't really know much, but they did. And I saw then like what deal making looks like and what M&A looks like. And I realized, like I actually can't do M&A unless I do investment banking. So then a lot of those guys worked at Baird. And so they were like, you have to do investment banking if you want to work in private equity, which I thought I did at the time. So I was like, all right, guess we're doing investment banking. And so then it takes me to Baird, which you don't really see like off cycle recruitment like that. And it worked out.
And so you go to Baird and you're in investment banking. I mean, you'd think you were out of school for 10 years.
I know.
Okay.
Seriously.
But what you are doing, which I love, again, is that you're doing that model that I encourage younger people to do, which is if you've got to bounce around to find geographically the type of company, what your gift mix is, then do it.
Yeah.
Because imagine if you would have gone to Credit Suisse, which is now
UBS,
in Manhattan, you might have been sitting at your desk this day going, what am I doing? I'm
100%.
miserable. I hate this. I don't want to do this. And now you're so far ahead of that person in that timeline. If you believe in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, so you went to Baird in investment banking. And are you still at Baird? Like, are you an investment banker there?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was not for me.
And no knock on investment banking.
Absolutely
not. Great
In
field.
fact, if you are still an investment banker after, you make it through, like you are a special human because it is very, very hard. And, now I didn't know this then, but Baird Industrials, the team that I was on, it's like 100 people in the US. If you go on like Reddit and everything, they'll say like Baird Industrials is like the hardest worked investment banking group. And I'm like, I just looked at that before I joined. Like that was my group. Minor details. But anyway, so it wasn't for me. I think maybe if I was like, 60 at that job, I would have been a different story. But I worked, 14 hours a day and could go a whole day without talking to anyone, which Quint knows, like that's not really where I should be. And I just fell in love with talking to the CEOs, which that is cool when you're 23 and talking to CEOs every day as an investment banker. Maybe not every day, but you do have the opportunity. I was so attracted to the operational side of the business, just like looking at these CEOs and their charisma and learning about how they view the strategy of the business. And I quickly realized like I am not in the right seat. And so I would spend, investment banking, you go really, really busy. And then you have like lulls that happen like during the workday. Oh, but then at night, like it gets busy again. But during the day, I'd have this like lull where I didn't really have anything to like work on. And I figured out, I'm like, I want to work for a small business. I want to take a business from 0 to 5 million, 5 to 10, 10 to 20, and learn what that looks like and how to do it on my own someday. And so I just started like scraping the internet for businesses. And now
what do you do? Now it leads us to the present.
Yeah, now we're to the present. And I work for Begin Health. It's a kids and babies gut microbiome company. And I'm chief of staff there, which means I just have the ability to see everything in the business. Pretty much every quarter for the last 5 quarters, my role has changed. I went from partnerships to growth marketing to ops, customer service, finance. Like it's been all over the board.
And you're learning everything.
Everything.
And you're about a $5 million run rate top line.
Yeah, exactly. So, I will never forget one of the things Quint says, like the last day of class and that, 10 things to do. But you talk about like in your 20s, learn this, your 30s, do this, your 40s, so on and so forth. In your 20s, you talk so much about figuring out what you love and what you hate that's equally as important. And I think where, right? Yeah. Those are the 3 things, what you love, what you hate, and then where you want to be. And I feel so much closer to those 3 things now than I did 4 years ago.
And you're still, though, not exactly where you think you'll be in the future.
For sure.
Because ultimately, you probably are going to do your own thing at some point.
That's the goal. And it was even the goal when I took this job. Yeah. My founder knows that's my goal. And I've told Quint this too, she's an unbelievable operator and she sees it as a mentorship in the sense of like, she calls it startup school. So she's just teaching me everything I need to know to go do it on my own.
Most of the people that will watch this will be young students that were where you were 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever that was. What's the one thing you would say to them right now in their shoes?
Yeah. It's not a no till it's a no. It's rung true for every single thing I've ever done. Everyone said I couldn't get to Kentucky. Figured out a way to get to Kentucky. Everyone said I couldn't get to Wall Street. Figured out a way to get to Wall Street. Everyone said you can't go work for a startup when you're making big bucks in Wall Street. And here you are. So it's never a no until it's a no.
I love that because, so again, why I think you and I get along so well, and I see such of myself in you, whether it's CNBC, scaling a business in Lexington, writing a book. I mean, it makes no difference. It's like, no, now why can't I do that?
Right.
You know, why can't I do that? And admittedly now in my age, quite a bit older, it's like I got to manufacture things that I'm like, well, how about run a marathon at this time? And Maddie was great. She saw a post I put up. I'm going to knock you a little bit because you put me in my place. And I had posted, hey, qualified Boston, I get this great message. Great run. That's amazing for someone your age. I'm like, oh, great. Yes.
Thanks a lot.
I am over the hump.
Yeah.
But anyways, no, I love that. It's not a no until it's a no. That is absolutely fantastic. So I thank you. Impromptu. She was working out of our office because she's traveling and needed a place to do some big boss lady things on your Zooms today. And I convinced her to come on. So I know this will provide great value for young people. And I hope you continue to inspire people along the way, because at some point, you're going to have to start giving back to that next generation to encourage them to do the things that you've done. So thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Quint. And Quint is the man. And if you haven't taken him up on the lunch offer, you're mistaken.
Oh, there goes my calendar. There we go.
There goes your calendar. Truly, though, like, you don't have as many people as Quint that truly just like pour into people our age. And so, especially if, you know, you're one of his faves, you
it works out.
Yeah.
You're kind.
You're the best.
You're kind.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.